Sherdog.com here with Jorge Masvidal, UFC 211, just ahead of your bout with Demian Maia. Talk about this. Like, this has kind of been a banner year for you coming in at 170.
Oh, the year's just getting started, man. I got a lot more to come, you know. I'm here to whoop ass, man. You've been covering me forever, so I don't consider you ever none of these guys, these fake media people, so I always keep it real with you. Man, I've been good, you know. I've been good for a long time. The media didn't get behind me. UFC didn't get behind me. I should have been here 3 years ago. People think that I just woke up and did that to Cowboy? I would have done that 3 years ago. People think that I just started beating up these contenders. Man, I've been doing this shit for a long time. When the guys from Strikeforce came over, guys that I had beat up, guys that I buried, they went and got top 5, top 10 contenders. What happened to me? What Twilight Zone moment happened that they just said, like, you know, Masvidal, whatever, we're going to give him these ultimate fighters, hope that he loses so we can build these guys off him, or these up-and-coming phenoms that were never ready. Maybe they'll end up being world champions or not, but at that point, them dudes had no business being in there with me. And I had no business being in there with them. A lot of these fights, man, you can see it on the tape, I didn't even train for these non-ranked dudes. You're seeing me motivated year-round now, getting after these guys. I want to hurt these guys, every one of them. Somebody's got to pay with interest for what was done to me. When I got in the backyard fights, it was like 20 people there watching, and I was gonna give it my all. I never knew that those videos were gonna get 10 million views and stuff like that. I just like the pure aspect of competition. So it has nothing to do with the media that the world is watching. It has to do everything with my opponent. I want to fight the best. When I got into the sport, I knew it's only a matter of time before I get to fighting the best. Well, that moment took longer and longer. And then I got into the UFC, I'm like, man, now I'm going to be fighting the world's best. It's crazy, you know, because long before I came into the UFC, I had a nice career that most people would be like, man, this guy, if I would have retired then, they would have been like, you had a hell of a career, man, an amazing career. So why, when I come over to UFC, I don't get none of that? I didn't prove myself. What, I had to be in the Ultimate Fighter, or I had to have some fucking sex tape out there for me to get that type of motion behind me? That's bullshit, man. I'm here to fight, you know? That circus show that's going on now, that's cool. And that new niche market that likes that shit, whatever. You know, but if you want to see a fighter, somebody that's going to come to fight, then tune in.
You talk about the circus, but this is the circus has kind of been an avenue for you to be able to be vocal, to be able to talk. I mean, you're a guy that can talk about a good fight. Do you feel like that's something that's helping you get some of these bigger fights? I mean, before the Jake Ellenberger, you were training for Jake Ellenberger, and you were already saying, I want Donald Cerrone next. You ended up getting that fight. I mean,
that all happened because of the grace of God, you know? They took gasoline from me to give it to Cowboy. I went home and prayed to God and said, God, strike these fools down, man. Let them know what time it is. And guess what happened? Gasoline missed weight, and then I got my hands on Cowboy, and I got to whoop him up twice, man. So that I give it all to God, man. Not because of the talking or none. I just went home and prayed. I was so devastated. I'm like, again, time number 4, man. Imagine 4 times you have a bout agreement signed to fight a top-ranked dude, and they take that from you. I could spend 90 minutes trying to describe it to you what it feels like. You wouldn't know unless you fought, unless you know what that is. You know, so I was devastated. That hurt me. That actually put me like in a 2-day depression of Krispy Kreme and fried chicken. So I was fucked up in the head, man. I just went and prayed to God, and I got a feeling about it. God kind of spoke to me like, don't worry, I'm going to make this right by you. Guess what? Gasoline misses weight, and then I get my hands on Cowboy, you know? So it's just destiny, fate.
Talk about Demian Maia. What was your thought process when they called you with him as an opponent?
No. They didn't call me with him. I called them and told them I want Demian Maia. That's the first guy on my list. If I can't get Maia, I'll get my hands on Magny because he likes to talk a world of shit and he can't back it up. And then I asked for the next top-ranked dude because I've only said it since my first fight ever in the UFC. Give me the best guys in the world. If not, leave me the fuck alone. Don't even call me with that shit, man. I'm not here to fight fucking Joe Blow. I'm not here to fight Ultimate Fighter this, Ultimate Fight. I don't give a fuck, man. I want to fight the best in the world. Do I want money in my pocket? Yes. Do I want easy money? Yes. But I only want to fight the best in the world. If it's not the best in the world, it's not my cup of tea, man.
How does Demian Maia match up with you? Conventionally, people would say striker versus grappler match, but you're a guy with really good wrestling. You do have some jiu-jitsu, although you don't necessarily show it. But how do you feel like this fight plays out in your favor?
See, that's why you're my boy, man. You don't dare call me a striker because you know I can grapple. There's current guys right now ranked in their divisions that are known for grappling that I out-grappled, that I submitted, that I could out-grapple them if it's just straight grappling, no strikes involved. I'm a fighter, man. I'm not a striker. I'm not a grappler. But you could ask those good grapplers that train with me, those good strikers that train with me, hey, how's Masvidal's grappling? They're not going to tell you, it's pretty good for a striker. No, they're going to tell you, they're going to look you dead in the eye and say, bro, that's a fucking good grappler. That's the guy that if you're not having a good day, don't go with him because he'll put you on your head and keep you there, you know? I can wrestle. Not at the highest level because I didn't go to college or I didn't go to the Olympics, but when it comes to MMA wrestling, I'm not missing anything. There's nothing that I'm not good at. There's not one position like, oh, if you get him in this position, you got him. No, and if there is, come find out.
The welterweight title is a title that American Top Team has owned for a little bit here for the last 2 champions. You go out there, you have a successful night against Demian Maia on Saturday night. You have a name ready to call out. Are you calling for a title fight, or is there someone else that interests you?
If I don't get the next title shot, God willing, I beat Maia and I don't get the next title shot, the sport has taken a dramatic turn for the worse, man. You know, it's gone full circus, and you know, it's something that I'm not too happy with if I wouldn't get the title shot. They wanted to give Cowboy the title shot. Well, I stopped that plan. Demian Maia deserves the title more than anybody. I'll be the first to say he deserves the title. If they would have said, no, you can't fight Maia because he's fighting for the title, I would have said, I understand. But guess what? I'm fighting that dude now. If I could beat that dude and I don't get the title shot, who the fuck does deserve it? Some reality star? If Justin Bieber versus the winner of Justin Timberlake gets a title shot? I'm being dead honest with you. Where's this sport going to? When I got into the sport, it was badasses like Randy Couture and Mark Coleman fighting 3-4 times in a night. Those dudes didn't give a fuck if they got famous. Those dudes just wanted to be the world's baddest motherfuckers on the planet, you know? It was cool that they got some money, but they just wanted to scrap, you know? And I come from that mentality. I'm here before the Ultimate Fighter. I was a pro before the Ultimate Fighter. When that Ultimate Fighter shit came on, a lot of people's light bulbs went off in their head and they're like, oh man, I can get famous off this. They got into the sport for all the wrong reasons. Nah, man. And that shit, that host status ends up coming to the light. And you see those guys breaking fights. You see those guys when USADA came in and the steroids are around. They ain't the same dudes, man. I've only gotten better with USADA. I've only gotten meaner in age. Why? Because I'm a fighter, man.
Would you be willing to sit out for a title fight?
Sitting out has never been something part of my vocabulary. Like I always say, I love to compete, man. I love to fight. But it's something that me and my management team, for once in my life, I would have to stop using this and I'd use this, sit down with my management team and see, hey, what is the best thing for us? Do I have to go out there and make a fucking sex tape? Do I have to be in LA, Hollywood, running around with celebrities, getting TMZ pictures for them people to be like, yeah, this guy deserves a title shot? Do I have to go buy followers on Instagram? Because if I beat Maia, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And forget about what I did in the UFC. Think about everything that I've done, period, in my career. Not just the UFC, what I did outside of the UFC. If I'm not getting the next title shot, man, I don't know if this sport is the right one for me, maybe, you know? It's weird, man.